books. I don't know if you can tell, but I think they're amazing. But I also think that some women characters who are meant to empower us are kind of treated down the wayside. Recently in a Wonder Woman comic book, a adversarial character smacked her in the butt, and she just kind of took it, and I felt that that wasn't the perspective that I wanted one of my heroes to have. So I put a lot of thought into her daily life, and I wanted her to give her real power instead of just superpower, and this is what happened. Is It Any Wonder Woman is the title, which is lame, whatever. In a chair, pretzel-legged, eating a box of lo mein with the eraser end of 2 pencils, she said, "What do you mean this isn't an appropriate thing for a woman to wear at work?" A flustered male HR rep sighed a year off of his life and said, "Please explain to me the reason why you were dressed as Wonder Woman in the broad, sober daylight. Not to mention, your lunch break ended 10 minutes ago, so why are you sopping food all over my office?" She chewed and formed an explanation in a bored tone. "I only had 30 minutes to eat, and on the way out, I saw chaos and disaster, so I tornado changed and saved the day, yada yada. Anywho, I rescued the Tasty Walk from robbers. No chopsticks, but they gave me so much meat." "You're welcome." "For what?" he said. "Saving your life from the horrors, the terrors of this world." She leaned forward and pulled his name plaque off his desk. "Donovan Sanders 3.0? "That's the 3rd, Donovan said stone-faced. "Do you understand why you're here?" "What do I care?" she snorted, and a carrot shot out of her mouth. "So what? You caught me. I've been here for, I don't know, since the 40s or something. Back when the world needed superheroes and conveniently camouflaged alter egos. Anyway, I'll dust off my Hillary Clinton swag later, so calm your tits." She slurped a long noodle that smacked her in the nose and gleefully dug around for more. He stared at her and looked down at the rather large personnel file in front of him. He was surprised to find such an annoyingly spotless record for the same person employed for the better part of a century. This couldn't be right. How could you possibly look this young and be as old as your paperwork says? Also, there's no way you can transition from a World War I nurse to a 21st century CIA operative, Donovan said. "I'm a freaking Amazon." "You know, Wikipedia, despite its many flaws, is a pretty reliable source of information. You should check it out sometime. I have my own page," she gushed. There was a very interesting amount of nothing he could say to this. He took in the red boots, the golden lasso, the star-spangled blue panties, the W crest strapless, held together by a prayer, the dark, wavy hair, the tiara, the wrist cuffs. She was insane. "Look, you can't possibly believe that you're a superhero," he said. "We haven't heard anything from Cheetah or Dr. Psycho or Circe or Silver Swan in a while anyway." She laughed, and a long green scallion slapped a photo of his family. "Yeah, right, because being an intelligence agent who rose from the lowly drudges of secretary makes so much more sense. And let's just forget about my vigilante karate days." She stripped off her boots with one hand and stretched 2 long legs with 10 crimson toes along the corner of his desk and went back to eating in the least graceful way possible. "So it's been slow lately," she said. "Sorry the Justice League kicked so many asses the greater part of the year. Maybe I didn't save the world in 20 minutes, but that old lady's still alive and those cars in the traffic jam didn't get totaled. The Chinese place is still delicious. Whatever, calm down, I'm just so bored." She guzzled a few more bites as he attempted to interject, but she plowed past him. "I don't know what it is. It's like all the fun bad guys took a nap and died or something. And, okay, fine. The invisible jet was a bit excessive. Okay, but he tried again. I had to break his point out. I just had to. But then I couldn't find the keys and the invisibility glitched and stuck and my Wonder Bra business was slipping. Look, that's not important right now," he stammered. "Seriously, you can't be a woman cry fighter with your junk popping out when you're pulling up a punch. Sure, magic powers from the gods, but what sick perv designed this shit?" Whatever, just cover up and wear pants for Christ's sake, he yelled over her. Listen, Diana, you hold a very important position here, and as the highest ranking woman, you have a responsibility to present yourself in a professional manner. I don't care what you do during your lunch break, or about your delusions of grandeur. You look like a streetwalker, patriotic or otherwise, and the employee handbook clearly states he cowered in the wake of her glowing, doom-inspiring rage. As she stood taller than necessary, fistballed, crumpling her takeout box with a few snail-oozing noodles slap on the floor. And from this smaller version of himself, he continued, look, you're not a superhero. You are not Wonder Woman just because you have the same underwear. You're very sick and unreliable for field duty. Diana pulled her golden lasso from her side, eyes sharp as blades, never leaving his face as it curled with sweat. He continued, okay, you're mad, but here are some forms you have to fill out for psychiatric evaluation and mandatory leave of absence. He fumbled with the locked drawer as the shiny loop flew over his head and then pulled taut over his desk chair. He felt calm and stupid, resigned. I have done more for women for the past 70 years that it shouldn't matter how I dress, she said. You've been reading my files. How convenient for you, they're all over your desk. Tell me the truth you won't admit. What are the dates of my last PTO? A ghostly voice escaped his lips. Surmising her absences, Diana walked around the desk to his computer and made him look up corroborating articles detailing the capture of various villains around those times that he knew. The last look back at her side, she went around the desk again, legs crossed in the corner again, pencils in the low main, and said, all my pants were dirty, and before you say anything, that glass ceiling bullshit is my plane and I'll move it later.